I spent the last 3 years building something and I still don't know if it's working. So, for context, what I'm talking about is my website, Grappler's Graveyard. I've been working on that website for the last 3 years. How I kind of got to the point of starting the website to begin with, I was training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in around January of 2022. At that time, I was overweight. I was looking for new hobbies. We were fresh out of COVID and everything that was going on during that time period. And I started to see the impacts that training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu had on both my mental health, physical health, and just like overall well-being. And it gave me a sense of community in places where I felt so isolated for so long, like a lot of people did during that time period. So I vividly remember I was sitting on my mat one day and then realized like, oh my God, I should start something in this space because of how much impact it had on myself. So fast forward 3 years later, the website is now making about $1,000 a month. But it's just like, I don't know if I am building something, or I'm constantly running into this fact that I am second guessing whether or not I should pivot, whether I'm wasting my time, whether this is actually going to work out and pan out to the thing that I actually think it's going to be. Seeing opportunities and thinking like, what if? The sunk cost fallacy, everything that kind of comes in that realm of second guessing and thinking that I'm on the wrong path comes up despite me even building and having some type of success over the 3-year time period. So what I'll say is that most people don't even get to this point, which is a good place to be, right? Like at the end of the day, building an asset from $0 to $1,000 a month consistently is actually insane. When I made my first dollar online, I remember it was like a rush that I had. I felt so good. And I didn't even have to put my face in the internet. It was something that, it was so foreign to me and it became real. And now I'm at a place where just this last year I made $15,000 in revenue. It's a little bit slightly more than $1,000 a month, but for simplicity purposes, I'm just talking about 1,000. And that's insane. Insane to me that I was able to take it from loss, like the years. It went from a loss the first year, loss the second year, and then the year that I had just recently making about $15,000 in revenue. But when you compare it, and this is the part that I struggle with most, is that I compare, and obviously you see people talking about money on the internet pretty much everywhere you go, unless like you're kind of like hiding under a rock at this point. The route that I decided to go was affiliate marketing and being an affiliate, building a website, gaining traffic over time through places like Google, social media like Reddit, all these different places. And it's just so much different than what other people are doing. But then you see these 22, 23, 20-year-olds making $30,000, $40,000 a month. Granted, I don't know if it's actually real half the time. They could be renting everything, but nonetheless, like, it still is something and information that I am getting in and having to assess whether or not, like, oh my God, like, why is Jack over there making $40,000 selling some bullshit course to people on the internet, and I'm over here barely scraping for $1,000. Definitely is not a good feeling to kind of deal with and scramble with, but you know, again, it all comes down to me comparing myself and my slow progress to other people's fast wins, which isn't really comparable in a lot of ways, because like what I'm building and what I'm trying to do is build, sell, move on to the next thing. Build, sell, or just build and have, right? Have these assets that generate cash flow every single month like clockwork, and then become established brands in the process of doing so. What I fear most in this process at this moment is looking back at 35 and not necessarily like having the freedom that I envisioned that I have at 28. So 7 years from now, I'd hope to be financially independent, time independent, not necessarily having to be places I don't want to be. That's the life that I see for myself at 35. and building websites and building these online assets in my name and documenting this process is something that is important at the end of the day, in the journey of getting to that point. But what I fear, again, is like getting at 35 and not having that. That would suck. I have some online mentors that I stick with, that I have easy access to, but I obviously pay to learn from them. So they don't necessarily give me the playbook. They give me the information to create my own playbook, which is great because I actually figured out how to build the skill that is like content marketing, using SEO, actually understanding what drives an offer, how to rank on Google. All these are super valuable skills that I think that a lot of people undervalue because everybody's so wrapped up in being TikTok famous or Instagram famous rather than like building stickiness for their product or stickiness for their brand. But yeah, I guess like this is me kind of talking out loud in terms of going through that process. I can tell you like I'm like the only one I know like in real life that's actually kind of like building something that I am building, at least going online. Can definitely feel lonely at times, but like at the end of the day, like I've got good people around me that don't make it feel lonely, right? Like I have really great friends. I have a great girlfriend, great support system, mom, dad, brother, all of them super supportive about what I do and my goals, but I don't really like share all too much like outwardly around my goals and like what I'm trying to accomplish because like I just want to build. I just want to be able to have, again, that freedom that I talked about at the age of 35. Like that's like my big goal. Now I don't really know where. I think like the biggest thing that ultimately keeps coming up for me is asking if it's worth it, asking myself if it's worth it. And I absolutely, at this moment, I do think it's worth it. It just sucks in the moment. It's one of those things that you eat dirt, you're building, you're making like these small, tiny investments in terms of like getting backlinks, doing outreach, buying this new software, testing this new platform, this, that, and the third. But then the growth is slower than what you kind of anticipate. And maybe that's just the Gen Z in me not understanding that good things take time, right? Because I think that as Gen Z, younger people under the age of 28, anything around like that time period, we grew up with the internet, at least at the age of 13. I knew a world. I was still too young to really like have a solid enough brain to actually comprehend what was going on. But I had the internet at about 13, started getting access to it, and then everything is so instantaneous with the internet. So you think that everything else follows suit, right? Building an online business, 30 days later, you're making $10,000 a month and retiring, partying on some yacht in Mykonos, doing whatever you want to do with some random chick from a third world country. Whatever the case is. Like, that is absolutely not the case. It takes a long time. It takes a lot to build. And, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. Like, I have to wrestle with that all the time. So, what I suggest if anybody is on the fence or just not knowing what to do, what to pick, you're caught in your own mind. What it comes down to is that you're putting pressure on yourself to like not wanting to pick the wrong thing and just committing to something even though it could be the wrong thing. You could get to the stage that I'm at 3 years down the road and still wrestling with the idea that is this worth it? Is it not worth it? At the end of the day, like if you choose something that you like and you enjoy it, even if that's like, okay, like you like the niche, you enjoy doing this as a hobby, whatever the case is, and then it transitions to, oh, I actually like the act of building, or I like the act of understanding and learning about SEO and applying the things that I learn to make money, or you just like making money. Like you as an individual change over time, and what it is that you end up committing to can change, right? Like originally when I committed to building this online business, I committed to the fact that I'm building something for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes to go to as a constant resource. That is still true, but I'm also committed to understanding and being an SEO professional. I'm also committed to building a financial future for myself, that I'm not fragile if something crazy were to happen in my life and I could take care of it, right? A lot of things can exist at one time, and I don't think that you should be afraid jumping into the dark to just build something. So that's my rant for the day.